on the wonderful country that is Oman. So come on in, make yourself comfortable. I hope you have a cool beverage in hand, or a hot one, of course. And we're really looking forward to this next hour. And yes, we've got a wonderful lineup of speakers tonight, joining us from all around the place, a couple of them from Oman itself. And so we're just waiting for a few more people to join. Feel free to say hello in the chat box. And welcome Elaine, who's first in the chat box. And hello, Stephen and Lisa from Bath, Mary from Dublin. Now, this is going to be I should warn our speakers, this will be a very international crowd, I'm sure. Lots of UK, but lots of other parts of the world. See, Giovanna from Italy. And where Sheila's in Teddington, not too far from where I am in Windsor. Maureen in Spain, Deborah from Mexico. So, yeah, great crowd in here tonight. Make yourselves comfy. We have got a packed hour ahead. And I've seen the presentations, I've seen the videos. This is going to be such a treat this hour. I love Oman. And Laura from Arizona, Moses from, oh gosh, I think that was Malaysia. We had somebody in Abu Dhabi. Everybody's coming in thick and fast. Lisa from North Carolina in the USA. So, yeah, make yourselves comfy. Jean from Los Angeles says, Oman is a gem. It is, isn't it? Oh, Nicole, you're in Nizwa. You're showing off. Oh, gosh. We might have to get you on, find out all about it. Hello to Manon in Paris. So, yes, and Sylvia from Belgium. So, yes, make yourselves comfy. We will kick off as soon as we can in a minute or two. Just waiting. We've got a lot of people to join, so we're just waiting for a few more to come in before we start. And as ever tonight, don't worry if you do miss anything, if you want to see it again, because we will be sharing a recording of the evening, and we will be sharing a lot of the useful information, useful links, and everything you need to know. So, oh, look at this. We've got Istanbul, New York, and Buckinghamshire. So, sunny Christchurch and Dorset. I don't believe it's sunny. I'm sure it's raining there, Lydia. Hello to Lucy in Harrogate. And I just missed somebody who said they lived in Oman for 20 years. So, Fiona wanted to go to Oman for years, and maybe this will be the year. Oh, I hope so, Fiona. It is such a brilliant country, as we're going to see. So beautiful. Got Anel from Oman and Anna Maria in Switzerland. Fantastic. So, yes, make yourselves comfy. Tanya from Ukraine. Our thoughts are with you. And so glad you could join us tonight. Yes, we really have. Oh, sunny in Devon, apparently. Gosh. Well, yes. But we're not going to dream of sunny Devon tonight. We're going to be dreaming of Oman over the next hour. So, to run you through a bit about what's happening, we have got a packed evening, as I say, because we've got some tremendous speakers. So, we're going to be taking a bit of a deep and immersive dive into Oman and just the whole diversity, the very different experiences that you can do there. So, what's going to happen is we're going to begin the evening with Zara Al-Hadi from the Oman Ministry of Heritage and Tourism. Lovely to have you on here, Zara. Who'll be welcoming us and sort of setting the scene for what you expect. And Zara, I know you're there. What's the time there?
It's 9:30 now, p.m.
9:30 at night.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. Brilliant you could join us. After Zara, we're going to be hearing from the explorer, Mark Evans, who I know I've been following for years. He does some amazing explorations of Oman. So we're going to hear about his epic crossing of the Empty Quarter, and also a bit about how he kayaked the length of Oman's beautiful coastline. Now, it's very frustrating when we've got so many speakers tonight, because I know we're all going to want to hear more of Mark. But we're really looking forward to that. And Mark, for a change though, you're not in Oman, are you? Where are you tonight?
I am in Bewley, just outside Inverness in the Scottish Highlands, where it's definitely a lot sunny. I think I need to go to Devon, actually.
Yeah, it sounds good, doesn't it? And welcome Oz, so local guide Oz Al-Marajami. who's going to be covering some of the different adventures that you can do across the country. Welcome, Oz, and where are you?
Hello. Actually, I'm in the office right now of the company, and as you can see, I got the adventure equipment behind me.
Oh yes, we can see. That looks very intriguing. Looking forward to hearing more. And then, last but not least, we're going to hear from Johnny Bealby of the brilliant tour company World Frontiers, who will take us through, the ways that they can help you experience the highlights of the best of Oman. So, welcome, Johnny.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, you're not anywhere exotic for a change, because usually you're somewhere around the world.
I'm not. I'm in dreary Farringdon tonight. Off to Pakistan on Friday, but tonight I'm in dreary Farringdon, yes.
Okay. Well, you're going to be wanting to get on a plane to Oman after this evening, I think, the next hour, because I know this is going to be tremendous. So welcome, everybody. And see, we've got some great people in the chat box. Hello, Nurka from Sarajevo. I'm going to be there in 2 weeks. So looking forward I might meet you there, Nurka. So, as I say, we've got a packed evening. Probably still some more people to join us as well. But that's the lineup for tonight. Once we've heard from all the speakers, we will do a bit of a Q&A. So please do send your questions in via the box. And it might be we can answer a few of them as we go along, but we'll also try and cover as many as we can at the end in the Q&A. And, of course, in the follow-up, like I say, we will be sending out the recording afterwards and some of those details. So do send us your questions during the talk. But let's kick off, I think, with a video to really kind of set the scene and get us in the mood. Oh, that looked wonderful. I mean, oh gosh, if that doesn't make your feet itch, give you Wanderlust, then I don't know what will. Okay, brilliant. So just to explain as well, that Oz has had some technical difficulties tonight, so I'm sure he's going to be here throughout. But first of all, we're going to be hearing from Zara. So Zara, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone from Oman, specifically from Muscat. And I'm glad to be here today with all my colleagues to highlight the beauty of Oman and the different experiences and activities that can be done and here in our beautiful destination. So as you can see from this picture, Oman is known as the land of contrast. So we have the mountains, the desert, we have the wadis, the beaches, and also we have the green areas and the mountains. So we have it all in one. So where is Oman? Oman is located at the southeastern part of the Arabian Peninsula with a coastline of more than 3,000 kilometers. And this is a very important point that helped the Omani Empire in the old days to expand in different parts of the world. Oman consists of 11 governorates from the south to the north, and in each governorate there is a lot of to do and to see. So starting from the very north, which is Musandam Governorate, it's famous for its fjords That's why they call it the Norway of the Arabia. It's also famous for the water sports, snorkeling, diving, and it has the longest zip line over water in the world. Going down a little bit to the Dimaniyat Island, Ras El Had and Ras El Jins, it's famous also for the maritime life and the turtles. Sur as well, it's very famous for its maritime history, and you can find there the shipbuilding yard or factory where they build the ships in the traditional way and the old way. Going to the heart of Oman, as you can see, there is Nizwa. This is called the Dakhliya Governorate, and it's famous for its spectacular mountains. Jabal Akhdar is really famous, and it has also the highest point at the Arabia, which is Jabal Shams. Going to the south a little bit, you will see where the camel is. You will find the sand dune, which is Asharqiya sands, plus also a part of the empty quarter. Going to the very south points of Oman, Dhofar Governorate. It's famous for the frankincense tree and also plus the Kharif season. The Kharif season where all the parts of Oman, the temperatures going high in the summer. This particular part of Oman, it turns to green, totally green. And thanks to the monsoon effects to this area. So if you are planning to visit Oman, you can use our national carrier, Oman Air. They fly daily from London Heathrow Airport to Muscat Airport. And the flight takes like 7.5 hours. If you are coming from UAE, you can also easily access the country from the land borders. In regards to the visa, if you are a UK passport holder, you have a 14 days free visa. But if you are planning to stay more than 14 days, then you need to apply for e-visa from the official website of the visa. Where to stay? Actually, we have different options for accommodation in here in Oman. We have a very luxury 5-star hotels. We have global chains and brands in here. We have Anantara, we have Alila, we have Shangri-La, we have Ritz-Carlton, and soon during this year we will have also St. Regis coming on, and we will have also the Mandarin coming on. In the desert, we have the desert camps, and it also vary from the luxury one to the very simple and traditional camps. I don't know if you can see from the third picture, it's a mountain, but there is a heritage inn in there by the cliffs or by the mountain. This is an old village. It's called Sojara village in Jabal Akhdar. So the local people try to renovate and utilize the old houses to heritage inns. So any visitor or tourist can experience the authenticity of the place. And also, if you are looking for a real relaxation, then this is the best option will be. For dining, we also have many options, starting from the hotel restaurants who they serve international cuisine. We have also many restaurants who serve traditional Omani food. I will recommend Rozna, Beit al-Luban restaurant as well. It's located by Matrah Corniche. Things to do in the country. I will not elaborate more. I will just go through it quickly because my colleagues here will elaborate more on the things and experiences to do. Heritage and culture. We have a lot of forts and castles. Everywhere you will go in Oman, you will find a fort or a castle or a tower. Museums. Also, we have the National Museum, Beit Zubair Museum, Oman Across Ages Museum. For shopping, I will advise you to go to Matrah Souq. You will enjoy walking in the narrow paths of the souk and smelling the frankincense smell. And also Nizwa Souk, which is located in Niswa, and it's famous for its pottery. Enjoy the Islamic architecture in Oman by visiting the Grand Mosque, which is home of the second largest hand-woven carpet in the world. And also you can visit the Royal Opera House. Oman has 5 sites that is inscribed in the Oman UNESCO Heritage Sites. That is the city of Qalha, the irrigation system, the frankincense land, which is located in the Dhofar Governorate, also Bats al-Khatm al-Ain, tombs, and also Bahla Fort. Handicrafts, also Oman is famous for many handicrafts. For example, the silver, the palm leaves products, and what is very special and unique, the distillation of the rose water. The rose season here, it lasts from March till the end of April. So this is something very special and unique. So I would like to talk more about, the things you can see and do here in Oman, but I will give the chance for my colleagues to elaborate more. Thank you.
Thank you, Zara. Oh, I know. We'd love to hear you for hours. Well, obviously, what would be great as well is to have some of those recommendations from you in the follower female. So we'll make sure we capture those, because I know everybody's going to want them. Because as it was, though, that was a great introduction and a great overview. So thank you so much to Zara. And now for something a little bit different, we're going to be hearing from explorer Mark Evans. So Mark, I'll leave you to it.
Thanks a lot, Lynn. Thanks, Zara. And no 5-star hotels really for me, because I spend most of my time sleeping in a tent or on the sand or on the roof rack of my Land Rover in Oman. But, I don't work for the Ministry of Tourism. I don't work for a private tour company. But what I share with you now is a passion built on 18 years living in Oman. It's been an absolute privilege for me to spend 18 years of my life in the most extraordinary of countries, which has great ties with the UK. I know we have listeners from all around the world here. But, if you're from the UK, great long-standing relations between the royal families of Oman and the UK. Prince William was out in Oman just before COVID arrived in December 2019. This is Wadi Arba'in. There's a sizable British community in Oman. This is the British School in Muscat. There's over 1,000 young people registered here. So a thriving British community. So a society which is has great connections to the UK, but a society that is also just incredibly rich and diverse. So Zara's already spoken about the sort of geographical layout of the country. This shows you a little bit of the relief. So in the north, you've got mountains that go up to 10,000 feet. Jebel Shams, the mountain of the sun, Sunshine Mountain, is the highest. And if you look way down south, follow the main road down south to Salalah, the second city, there's a line of limestone mountains full of caves down there that go up to about 6,000 feet. So what you're looking at there is a country that's about the size of the UK, but with only 4 million people. So if wilderness and wild places are your thing, then Oman has these in abundance. Imagine the UK with only 4 million people. I'm going to share with you a couple of journeys that I did in my 18 years. When I first arrived in Oman, I'd been doing a lot of kayaking around Scotland and Svalbard in Norway. And I wanted to kayak around the coastline of Oman. No one had, to my knowledge, had ever done it. And I wanted to do it. So I managed to get 2 Inuit design kayaks out to Oman. And like Zahra said, there's a place in the north of Oman where Oman nearly touches Iran called Musandam. And that's where we launched. It's called the Norway of Oman, deep fjords. And just trying to paddle every day. So every day I slept on the beach. I was going for 55 days before I reached the border with Yemen. And a very simple way of travel. I had 3 or 4 days worth of food and water on the boat, but I also had my friend in a Land Rover trying to follow me on the beach. I think I did about 2,000 kilometers. He did 20,000. He did 10 kilometers to my one. Had a great adventure off-roading in Oman. trying to launch at sunrise every morning, and the sea in Oman every morning is flat calm. It's absolutely beautiful. And as Zara said, there's lots of coastal communities along the north where the main population is. Sur is where they build the old traditional dhows, the Arab sailing ships. So great to call in there. But when you reach the most easterly point of Oman, you can see the point there. That is the most easterly point of the entire Arabic-speaking world, and it's called Ras Al Had. And when you turn the corner there, you're turning out of a protected water into the Arabian Indian Ocean, and there the sea and the swell gets pretty rough. So mid to late afternoon, coming ashore in your kayak is great for the photographers on the beach, but not much fun for those of you who are in the kayak. It's like sticking your head in a washing machine, but it's just beautiful. No one around at all. Sometimes you end up coming in backwards rather than forwards, but it doesn't matter how you land as long as you get there, and a good cup of tea. But you'll see in a lot of these images there's nobody there. And you know, I think one of the great things of Oman is the landscape, the people, but also you have that incredible silence and remote location wilderness experience if you want it. Incredible marine life. I've kayaked around all of Oman. I've kayaked around Bahrain. I've kayaked around Qatar. The seas there are relatively dead. The sea in Oman is absolutely alive with life. Tens of thousands of turtles, and as you go south towards the sort of southern half, then you really enter the domain of the Arabian humpback whale. No one's entirely sure how many of these are left. It's a very unique population. They don't migrate like other humpback whales because due to the monsoon, the cold and the warm water come to them at certain times of the year, so they don't need to move. I think the last estimates were between 60 and 80 of these beautiful whales left. And before you know it, you're down towards the border with Yemen, which is quite a beautiful part of the world. If you didn't know that camels could swim, well, they can. And these camels this is right down on the border with Yemen, the most remote westerly community in Oman, a place called Dalkut, which is a very, very quiet beach. The camels like nothing more than going in for a bath every morning in the sea. Everything grows incredibly quickly, even the fig trees growing out of people's houses here. And, you know, a crashed helicopter on the beach that I've watched slowly decay over 18, 20 years. Someone escaping from the Yemen civil war many years ago landed on the first beach that they could, which was in the safe haven of Oman. And I would say probably the most remote HSBC cash point in Arabia, right down on the border. The border fence between Oman and Yemen is in the background on the cliffs just there. And that journey was with a purpose. We wanted to put the spotlight on cancer. An Omani friend of mine is a cancer survivor, set up the Oman Cancer Association, and we managed to raise about 40 or 50,000 pounds to contribute towards Oman's first mobile screening unit to go into the remote mountain communities to enable people to get tested early. But, you know, if you want to join a club that is devoted to exploration, you can join the Royal Geographical Society, or you can join the Explorers Club in New York. And there was a time when the empty quarter, which is the biggest sand desert in the world, was considered to be the greatest expanse of unexplored territory outside of Antarctica. So there was a time when the race was on to become the first European to cross that great desert. And many people think it's this chap called Wilfred Thesiger. And this book is the Bible of desert travel, Arabian Sands. It's absolute poetry. And Thesiger was not just a great writer, but he was a great black and white photographer. But he was not the first. He was about 15 or 16 years after the first person to cross the biggest desert on earth. But that must not take away from what he did. Two extraordinary journeys. Young Thesiger, the traveler, on the left, and on the right, when I met him in his early 90s before he passed away in Surrey in the south of England, an icon of desert travel. And it was Thesiger who said, you know, the harder the life, the finer the person. And you see that in Oman. The hospitality you have throughout Arabia, but especially in Oman, is quite extraordinary. And you know what? It's hardly, but it's hardly any different to the hospitality that you experience with the Inuit of the far north. Both people live on the edge of human tolerance. One on the edge of tolerable heat, one on the edge of tolerable cold, and the finer they are for it. If you are an academic, you can apply for a grant from the Royal Geographical Society in London, the Thesiger Oman Fellowship, if that's what floats your boat, doing a bit of research. Why is Oman so friendly? Well, I'm pretty much convinced that it's all to do with the fact that for centuries it's been a maritime trading nation. And if you look at this map of East Africa here, you can see the Omani influence down to Zanzibar and northeast to Baluchistan. In Muscat, the #1 language obviously is Arabic. Second language is English. English is widely spoken throughout Oman. But then the third language is Swahili, because of that trade for centuries going up and down the coast. And Omanis have always had an outward-looking philosophy, a mindset open to different cultures, different ideas, different ways of doing things, which is why you're guaranteed of a very warm welcome when you go there. And for centuries, this is a replica boat that was built based on a boat found under the sand. It was sailed east to Singapore to prove that Omanis did indeed reach that far east. I see there's someone in the chat box from Bath. Well, look, what you're looking at here is the first European to cross the largest sand desert on Earth. He wasn't from Bath, but he was from Bristol and a place called Pill, a little village just outside Bristol. Very overlooked. His name's Bertram Thomas. You can probably work out which one he is in that photograph. Not the greatest master of disguise. But this is the map that Thomas drew after his great journeys in Arabia in the late 1920s. The line going from south to north is the first ever crossing of the empty quarter from Salalah to Doha. And no one had done that for 85 years, simply because political boundaries were constructed between Saudi Arabia and Oman. And whilst people wanted to do that journey, it was politically almost impossible to get permission to do so. So we wanted to do that. We were inspired by some of Thomas's old photographs. This is a photograph he took in the mountains above Salalah with the Jibali people, the people who live in the mountains, burning frankincense to get rid of the evil spirits from their cattle. And in Oman, the evil spirits are called jinn. And jinn, the word genie has its root in the Arabic word jinn. So here they are burning frankincense to get rid of the evil spirits. To unlock the door to do a journey that had not been done for 85 years, we really needed high-level support. And we had that from the Sultan of Oman, from then Prince Charles, now King Charles, and the King of Saudi Arabia. And those three people managed to unlock a door that had previously been locked. So we're starting in Salalah, the southern city of Oman, and we're going pretty much due north to the finger of land here called Qatar. And the stars of our show, so we traveled on foot. It took us 49 days. We lost about 24 kilos of weight between the three of us, myself and two Omanis. But the stars of the show were undeniably the camels. And getting camels tough enough today to do a journey is almost impossible. They've gone soft like we have, really. They don't spend their lives behind a laptop, but they don't need to wander the desert to search for water, because it's brought to them these days, as is fodder. So Neil, I think you're the technical guru here. There's a short video that I'd like to show people that Thomas recorded with his cine camera in 1928. Are you able to play that? Right, it is a silent video, but just look at the loads the camels are carrying here. The camels in those days, what you're looking at is this is 1930, and these are the camels being loaded in Salalah. Each camel is carrying about 40 to 50 kilos of weight, and getting camels today to do that is just a non-starter, really. But this is some of the earliest moving black and white cities of southern Arabia. So this was found undiscovered in a box in Cambridge University when Thomas died. His wife donated all of these things to the university, and this was digitized by University of East Anglia, and it's one of the earliest moving cities of southern Arabia. Right, thanks. We'll stop there, and I need to crack on. If we can stop the video, and I'll keep rattling on. So for 49 days, we walked pretty much a marathon every day, but great fun, sleeping on the sand, loads of sandstorms. If you're a photographer, the desert is, and I know Anna Maria is here from Switzerland, the desert is beautiful. That first hour of light and the last hour of light, it's absolute paradise. And it's such a privilege. You know, the empty quarter spills over into Oman. There's plenty of places to access it from Salalah or Muscat. It's a photographer's dream. It really is. Beautiful khanjars, the traditional Omani dagger, and this was the very one carried by Thomas's guide in 1930. His great grandson bought it to show us when we met him. And when Thomas reached Doha, it was front page news around the world. Sydney Herald, New York Times, even the Glasgow Herald. These were the medals that were pinned on his chest: the Livingston Medal of the Royal Scottish Geographical, the Founders Medal of the Royal Geographical in London. These were auctioned in Edinburgh about 2 or 3 years ago and sold for £100,000. 2 hours out of Muscat, much more accessible than the empty quarter, is the Wahiba Sands. The Wahiba Sands, now called the Sharqiya Sands, about the size of Wales, and absolutely beautiful. And in the mid 1980s, the Royal Geographical Society in London carried out a really intensive survey of these sands. They are the most intensely studied sand desert on Earth. And, you know, that local knowledge with Saeed Jabber here, the head guide, sharing his knowledge with Nigel Winder and Roderick Dutton and the team, the local knowledge was absolutely critical. So these sands, within 2.5 hours of you landing at Muscat Airport, you can be in a desert camp on the edge of this very desert. It's absolutely fantastic. I've nearly done, because I know Lynn's got me on just a tight schedule, but person on the left here, Lawrence of Arabia, the book he wrote, 7 Pillars of Wisdom, absolute poetry as well. In it, and this is going to be my final 4 or 5 slides now, in it, he describes this scene, which is what most people like most about going to Oman, sitting under those desert stars around the fire. This he described as the university of the desert, because for thousands of years, people have resolved disputes and told stories around the fire. And that has inspired for years now a peace building program where we take young leaders from Iran, Iraq, Yemen, US, UK into the desert for 5 days, no mobile phones. It's, you know, Oman is the Switzerland of the Middle East in so many ways. It is an absolute haven of peace and tranquility. Oman, it's a great place to unwind and reflect and recharge. Oman's foreign minister, who's one of the loveliest people you'll ever meet, recently spoke in Oxford, and the title of his talk is Speaking to Anyone for the Good of Everyone. And that is Oman's foreign policy. It wants to be everyone's friend, and it is. So it's a wonderful place. If you're an artist, it's the place to go. And I'm going to stop there because that's exactly 13 minutes, and that's my time up, Lynn, I think.
Thank you, Mark. Oh my gosh, there was so much in there. I mean, could have listened to that for hours. So much I didn't know. The whales, and the fact that camels, of course, are so soft these days. Like you, I love Thesiger's books, Arabian Sands, which I first read as a teenager, had such an impact on me, and made me want to visit Oman. So yes, that's absolutely wonderful. I hope if you're going to be doing any full-length talks anytime, I'm sure we can find a way to publicize that in Wanderlust, because that's so interesting. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Right. So next, we're going to be hearing from Oz, who I must explain. So Oz is a local guide who specializes in adventure. So he's going to give us lots of brilliant ideas to do. Now, Oz did have technical problems before we came on tonight, and so hasn't had a chance to, I know he's on his phone, and he hasn't had a chance to check whether, you know, his video and slides are working. So, Oz, I'm hoping that you can kind of take it away, but do you want to start, and then I'll leave you if everything's working okay?
Hello, thank you so much. Yes, I think it's all good by now.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant.
Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So All right. Would you be controlling the video, or should I take it control?
No, if you can take control, can you?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, see if you can do that. Okay, what you're on, and the video's playing. Brilliant,
Yes. Perfect. All right. So shall we start? Okay. So about Oman. So I would say you can always kick off with mountains in Oman. We have like one of the highest summits in the region, which is Jebel Shams. And today I'm going to talk more about the adventure tourism in Oman. As you can see, there's like many different types of adventure that we do in Oman, from abseiling, via ferrata, going through wadis, and as you can see, most of them are all of them are professional tour guides who take you to these tours. I would say it's once a lifetime. People don't really tend to know about this. That one of the Gulf countries do have these type of adventures or thrilling stuff that you can spend on for like days. There are plenty of these places, as you can see, even like through waterfalls, caves, and many on. It's like obstacles through the mountains, zip lines, and many more. One of the other things that we do is that, as you can see on the right side of the screen, we do a lot of climbing, different types of it. And on the left side, you can see some abseiling. That is the longest abseiling, not just in Oman, one of the longest abseiling in the world. So anyone who loves this type of thrilling adventures, I would say this should be one of the bucket list. It's about 180 meters long. And in the middle, that is canoeing through the night. And I would say that's one of the most, I would say, the best experiences that I ever had. Imagine canoeing through the night under the stars, sometimes on a full moon, sometimes, it could be just through the stars. And I would say, if you do come to Oman, you should definitely try one of these adventures. And the other part of Oman, of course, other than adventures, we have the traditional dessert called halwa. It's pretty sweet, I would say. Sorry. And I would say that's one of the desserts that you should definitely try. It could be very sweet, but we usually have it with a pot of coffee. And in the middle of the screen, we have the rose season in Oman. Local tour guides, they show you the way of harvesting those roses, the way of how we extract the rose liquid and the perfume itself, and how it's done in a traditional way and in the modern way as well. And I would say it's definitely a pickup that you need to get, not just as a souvenir, but it smells really good. And of course, we have horse riding in Oman. It's a famous thing as well as shooting ranges with, of course, traditional guns. And that's definitely done with certified people. And I would say that's one of the experiences that you should definitely think of. And on the left side is the pottery, that they would help you craft it from scratch. And we get to the other part, which is sports tourism, which is not really much known that Oman has. We do actually host a lot of international races, cycling, and even like marathons. And these marathons are not just done through the streets, but they choose them carefully, like through the deserts, through farms, through mountains, and some ancient villages. It's so any athletes that would think of traveling somewhere to achieve a milestone, I would say Oman should. And then this last part, it shows many different types of tourist sites that you go in Oman. Diving, and as I mentioned, the via ferrata, cycling, and even many activities through the desert, climbing, and many other things, as I mentioned as well, pottery, going through the wadis. Even there are like so many old villages, a lot of heritage that is in Oman, and I would say that definitely should be on the pickup list. And we could go more in details now on the adventure tourism specifically in Oman. So I would say, as I mentioned, the wadis in Oman are something that cannot be missed. And these are just a few pictures out of, I would say, more than 20 wadis. Waterfalls, some really like hidden gems that only local guides would know about that. Of course, us as local guides, we're all, most of us are certified, and whoever has the adventure tourism license, we've been trained by the military itself to make sure that we follow the international standards, safety, and we know how to act on emergencies and so on. So in that case, I would say that you'll be in safe hands. And as well, abseiling, as I mentioned. The picture in the middle is in one of the river valleys, which we call it wadis in Oman. I would say that's an activity that you should never miss. And the picture on the right side, that's the abseiling that I told you about, which is one of the biggest one of the longest abseilings in the world, which is about 180 meters long, in one single rope. We can move on to sorry, the screen is quite jammed. So the next part is the desert in Oman. I would say the desert is something, of course, that cannot be missed. There are so many activities in the desert. We have sandboarding. We have you can ride motorbikes, quad bikes, all around, and we have one of the best resorts there. This is called Sam Al Wasil Resort. 1 out of 10 resorts that you'd spend an amazing nights in. Like you spend like really good nights under the stars. Next day you can even get to the hot air balloon, and I would definitely recommend the hot air balloon during sunsets because the view is amazing, cannot be missed. We got as well the mountains in Oman, as I mentioned previously. We have a lot of villages actually on the mountain, farmlands. They had different type of techniques of harvesting flowers, as I mentioned earlier, and as well as that there are many activities actually that you can do on the mountain. Camping sites on amazing landscapes, that's a thing that you can never miss. As I mentioned, via Farata as well. On the other hand, Jebel Shams summit, which is one of the highest summits in the region, with about at 3,028 meters, and many adventurers and explorers would like to achieve this milestone in Oman. And the amazing thing about it that you can camp before heading to the summit. It's about 22 kilometers long, not that much, so it can be added during the trip, hopefully. And the other part of Oman is, of course, the heritage in Oman. This is in Abri. It's been taken a few years ago. To be honest, one of the best pictures I ever have seen in a while. One of the places that you can visit is Nizwa Fort, which is the two pictures in the middle. And of course, we have a lot of mosques that are worthwhile a visit. On the left side, we have villages that have been, I would say, modernized and stayed the same traditional way that they can host people in it. This is called the Sogara. It's even in Jebel Akhbar. And I would say if you look for a place to stay, for a hotel or a resort or anywhere that you want to stay in, I would recommend going to these type of villages, and you'll try all type of local food, and you'll experience what Oman has. We'll move on to the caving. So caving in Oman is wild, I would say. There are many caves in Oman. Of course, as I mentioned, most of the tour guides are certified, and you can make sure that before heading to any caves with them. We have many caves that are worthwhile a visit. One of the caves is called Tahri Cave. This Tahri Cave has a lot of crystal formations inside it, and I would say it's worth to visit. Not sure if there are many of that outside of Oman, but I would say specifically this cave itself, it's worth a visit. Moving on to the sea life. We have a lot of type of sea lives in Oman. Like we got the whale sharks, stingrays, turtles, dolphins, many corals. This is in a place called Dimaniyat, even other beaches, but we have an island called the Dimaniyat Island. It's crystal clear, blue waters, and I would say that's definitely a place to go for snorkeling or scuba diving. Whoever loves this type of adventure, I would say, especially swimming on with the whale sharks. It depends on the season, but whoever tends to get caught up with them, I would say they'd be lucky and one of the best experiences you can ever have. Moving on to the water sports. Anyone who loves doing water sports, we have kite surfing, as well as wakeboarding, snorkeling, parasailing, even deep water soloing. Whoever loves this type of water sport activities, I would say Oman is definitely a place to try it on, especially with the landscape views, amazing beaches. And I would say that's definitely recommended from my side. Moving on to the farmlands, these are like the blossoms that you can find in Wakan village, as well as we have the rose season in Jabal al-Akhbar, where the farmers do harvest these roses by the usually it was 2 months ago, but the season is over now. But whoever comes to Oman between mid-March to beginning of May, I would say visiting those farms and collecting roses would be definitely a marvelous memory for you. Moving on to the adrenaline rush. Whoever loves the adrenaline rush, we have the, as Zahra mentioned previously, we have the longest zip line over the sea in the world in Masandam. These are just pictures. Of course, if you try it and live it through, that will be definitely a different experience. We have the paragliding as well in some beautiful coasts in Oman. And whoever loves these type of adventures, you definitely enjoy this one. And there's so many more to talk about Oman. I have just a limited time of 10 minutes, but I would say this is just a short bit about Oman, and hopefully you can visit it one day, and definitely gonna have one of the best trips in your life.
Thank you, Oz. Oh, so many ideas in there. And I think it really captured the variety of experiences there. Just so many there. And yes, and I know I certainly want to revisit and try a few of those. So thank you so much. That was brilliant. So sorry we're having to move on so fast, but Johnny, you can give us a bit more info about actually doing it. So I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everyone. Yes, Oman. Well, as you've already seen from our previous speakers, what a fabulous and varied country it is. But I thought the best thing that I could do to kind of wrap up this evening's presentation is give you a little bit of ideas of how to actually do it practically. Now, I've already seen April and Giovanna are asking about how you can do it in a slower way, wanting to meet people, connect, all of that sort of thing. That's absolutely bang on with what we do at Wild Frontiers. We are half group tours and half tailor-made. So whichever type of travel you like to do, we can hopefully cater for you. But I thought the best thing for me to do as far as this presentation is concerned is to just give you an idea of kind of run you through our most popular Oman group tour. It's a tour that I've led a number of times. It's fabulous, and it gives you a good idea as to the kind of routing. It takes you through the mountains, it takes you through the deserts, and it hopefully shows you pretty much everything that all of our speakers, Zara, Mark, and Oz, have all been talking about. You can see here, it's called the Oman Desert Adventure. It's 12 days long, it starts in Muscat, and as I say, it takes you through the mountains, the deserts, the coasts, and down all the way to Salalah. So I'm just going to quickly kind of talk our way through this. It starts in Muscat. Muscat is a fascinating city of roughly 1.7 million people. It was effectively a walled medieval city until the 1970s when it started to develop. It's said, and I hope this is right, that in 1970, there was only 10 kilometers of asphalt road, 3 schools and 1 hospital. Obviously, the country has come on a long way in the last 50 odd years. But it's a beautiful place to start your trip. As Zara was saying, it's easy to fly into and it offers great experiences. It's a city of forts. There are plenty of those to look at, including the Royal Fort, which has the emblem of Oman on the gate, the Kujar, which is a great souvenir, by the way. And as you can see, that was also on the national flag. There's also the Grand Mosque, which is an incredible building, recently built, stunning architecture, both inside and out, absolutely exquisite inside and out. I think, as Zara was saying, it's home to the second biggest carpet in the world, second largest carpet, Persian carpet, handmade. Anybody on the right can, in the chat box, can tell me where the biggest one is. I will tell you at the end. Muscat, of course, also famous for its souks, for its shopping, for great kind of experiences, and the fish market, which you can also visit, which is just outside of town. But from here, after a day and a half, we head up into the mountains. And as you've already seen from our previous speakers, Oman has the most amazing mountain ranges, and it's something that is often overlooked by people without knowing a huge amount about the country. You get in your 4x4s, you drive out of Muscat, and you're very quickly up into the Jabal Akhtar mountains. This is a photograph of me standing very close to Jabal Shams. I'm not actually on the summit. The road passes nearby. I've cheated and jumped out and got a photograph of myself there. Highest point on the Arabian Peninsula, as you've already heard. But what you can do here is visit some of the incredible villages, and that's what we do. Some of these villages are have nobody living in them anymore. They're deserted, while others still have plenty of people living in them and a good life. And it's a great place to go and wander, to meet local people living, a very different style of life. It's also a place where you can see the incredible irrigation systems that were kind of imported really from the Persian Empire some 2,000 years ago. One of the best ways to do it, as you can, actually you can't see because that photograph in the middle was supposed to zoom in. Never mind. There is a lovely walk that you can do around this area. You can walk for 3 or 4 hours along the old donkey trails. There's also some fabulous accommodation. We try to use The View, which is one of the best hotels in the area, named for obvious reasons. And I think it has the best infinity pool that I have ever had the privilege of swimming in. So even on these group tours, you get to stay in some pretty fabulous accommodation. From there, we head down to Nizwa. We've already been hearing about that. Of course, it's a town with its famous fort and was very important during the old trading routes. It's worth noting that Oman has over 500 forts, which just goes to illustrate how important it was during various trading periods in its history. Other huge forts nearby is the Bala Fort, which is the biggest and was the first UNESCO World Heritage Site to be inaugurated in Oman in 1987. And the Jabrin Fort, which is another beautiful fort, almost kind of more spectacular in it's smaller but more intricate design, and was designed so that I'm told molten dates could be poured on invading soldiers. Never sure if that was ever actually done in anger, but there we are. And there's the very famous animal market very nearby, which again we stop at, where you can see things like camels in the back of pickup trucks, which is a rather unusual sight. Nice for photography. And from there we head into the Wahiba Sands. So this is your first taste of desert on this particular trip. As Mark was saying, it's an incredible desert. It's tiny by comparison to the empty quarter. I think it's 5,000 square miles as opposed to 250,000 square miles. So that kind of puts it in perspective. But don't let that put you off. As Mark said, it's the size of Wales, so you're not likely to see the edge of it when you're sitting up on one of the dunes. Fabulous place. We go there, we camp for a night, and then we walk out of there. And what's interesting is that the walk takes you right up to the coast. The Wahiba Sands go literally right up to the Arabian Sea, the Gulf. And when I've done this trip a number of times with various people, sometimes because you're so close to the coast, you actually get a mist that comes in. And I remember one time in particular, we were walking through thick fog until it cleared an hour or so later, and we found ourselves very close to the sea, which you get even closer to as you carry on south on this journey. And this is one of the most incredible things. So Mark was talking about his kayaking trip all the way around the coast. One of the things you do on this is you don't take the road, you drive down onto the beach and you literally drive along the beach for mile after mile after mile, displacing some of the bird life, it has to be said, until you find a suitable deserted place where you camp. You'll stop beforehand at one of the villages, buy some fish from the local fishermen, and then find a campsite and set up camp for the night. And this is absolutely magical. As Mark was talking about, camping every night as he did it, you're going to arrive here in a lot easier way than Mark did, not in a canoe. But it does mean that you can go swimming. As you can see, the camp is fairly rudimentary. They're bell tents that you crawl into. You take your own sleeping bag, but we have proper thick foam mattresses and pillows, so that makes it nice and comfortable. We also have a portable shower that we use, so you can go swimming in the sea and not be stuck with salt all night. We have good chairs, we set up a campfire, and we sit and enjoy the sun going down. Somebody else, I think it was Jay, asked whether or not Christmas is a good time to go. It's an excellent time to go. This photograph of me toasting the end of 2019, that's the sun going down in 2019, and I was toasting a really good 2020, which of course didn't really happen, but there we are. So yes, Christmas, New Year, great time to travel to Oman. From there, we stopped for one night in Dukun, which is a kind of fishing town, just so you get a night in a hotel, so you can have a proper night's sleep and a proper shower before heading into the Rub Al Khali. And this is the highlight of the trip, as far as I'm concerned. It's utterly, utterly magical. Now, Mark has walked, I think, pretty much across the whole thing. For us lesser mortals that don't want to endure quite such an expedition, you can do this for a couple of nights and it's just magical. I took this photograph with my phone sitting on top of a dune. That gives you an idea of just how spectacular it is. We camp again, we drive further into the desert the next day, find another campsite, stay the night, and you can see just what a kind of magical experience it is, particularly when the sun goes down and the stars come out and you sit around the campfire. And again, as Mark was describing, how this is how stories are told, how the way of life is in that part of the world, and that's what we do: tell stories and talk to the guides and just have a really great time. We follow that route down Frankincense Trail. This is what made the region so wealthy 2,000 years ago. Whoa, it's whipping through. It's not me doing that. Hang on, go back, go back, go back. Oop, yeah, there we go. Sorry, that got rather carried away. So the Frankincense Trail, this was what, as I say, made the region so wealthy. Around the time of Jesus, really, obviously gold, frankincense, and myrrh is what the three wise men brought to Jesus. And it was incredibly valuable and incredibly highly prized, and it made this region very, very wealthy, which is why the Persians came and kind of took over the trade, and that they used some of the finance from that to build Persepolis, which I'm sure some of you will have been to. Again, as Zara was saying, some of this region gets the monsoon rain. So while it's 40 degrees in Muscat, it's a nice 26 degrees down here and very green and lush. The final kind of stop before we get to Salalah is the port of Sumarum, which is where the frankincense was exported from. This, go back 2,000 years, was probably the biggest port in the world. It isn't anymore, but it is still a fascinating place to visit before we end the trip in Salalah, where there's a fabulous frankincense museum. And the last afternoon, we're staying in a hotel there, so you get a chance to kind of relax on the beach, go to the souk, have a final meal before heading back home. Now, on that trip, there are 4 nights camping. If you don't like camping, we do offer another trip called the Wadis Mountains and Coast, which is a duration of 9 days. You do get pretty much everything you get at the on the other trip. You just don't get the empty quarter, and you don't get Salalah, but you do get the sinkholes, the famous sinkholes, which you can swim in, and you do get Sur, which, as again Mark was explaining, is where a lot of the dhows are built. So, and you also get to camp in Wadi in the Wahiba Sands in a slightly more comfortable way. So, as I say, Wild Frontiers, we offer small group tours, no more than 12 people in a group, and we also offer a full tailor-made service. This is Dan, one of our experts. So there you are. That's me whipping through what you can do in Oman and how to do it, which I hope gives you some idea of where to go.
Oh, thank you, Johnny. Oh, gosh, I want to travel so much. I do want to revisit Oman. And, of course, you're offering a special offer, aren't you, to the people tonight?
We are. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yes, purely for Wanderlust readers, we're offering 5% off any particular trip that you like, be it a group tour or a tailor-made itinerary, if booked before the end of June 2024. So jump on the phone to us and we'll start sorting out a trip for you to this wonderful country.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I know quite a few people asked about is this being recorded? Yes, just to reiterate again, because I know some people are having to go off, have dinner or whatever. There is the recording going to be shared, and also we will share useful info, useful resources, the official Oman website. We'll get that info from Zara, and we'll have a link, of course, to Wild Frontiers as well, and what you need to do to take advantage of that offer. So all of that will be in the follow-up email. And also answers to any of the questions tonight, because we've got to see if we can whiz through the questions. I know a few have been answered as we're going along. So first of all, Zara, though several people have asked about the best time to visit, what's it like seasonality wise?
Our season is from like September to April. But in the summer, of course, we are encouraging people and we are promoting the mountains because it will be a little bit cooler than the other parts. And of course, Salalah, because it has a different
season.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Well, we'll put a bit about seasonality in the follow-up. That's great. Now, Oz, you showed some great adventures there. Somebody asked, though, about level of fitness that's required. So for beginners, for instance, you know.
Yes, regarding the difficulties, all the beginners to intermediates to experts, anyone can try. I mean, we have various type of difficulties from the easy to the hard level. Depends on what they want as tourists. And I would say for beginners, even to try the abseiling, it could be quite challenging, and they could be maybe afraid to try that for the first time. But I can assure you that we do have all these safety measurements that needs to be done, and we do control everything. I mean, in case anything happens, but for any type of tourists, from beginners to experts, they can try these adventures in Oman.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Now, Mark, a question from me. I think you covered so much. We haven't so much got questions for you, although just lots of comments how brilliant it was. But I was flabbergasted to see the whales, because I'm into wildlife, and what I do remember of Oman was just how clear the sea was. I can remember from cliff tops seeing turtles. I can remember seeing dolphins. So much fantastic marine life. Where are you most likely to see humpback whales, though?
Well, they hang out between a place called Bar al Hikman, just south of Masira Island, all the way really down to a place called Hasik, near just east of Salalah. So that more remote bit of coastline. And I was in my kayak one day, Lynn. I was about 6 kilometers offshore. I couldn't see land in any direction, and humpback whale just came out of the water like a big rubber submarine, about 100 meters wide, totally silent. So just to be out there on your own with a humpback whale in water that was just like a mirror, it was just fantastic. So, but you have dolphins swimming alongside your kayaks, tuna the size of dustbin lids bolting underneath you, and turtles and sea snakes. It's just fantastic, really is.
Oh, incredible. Sarah, we had one or two people ask about traveling independently, and also what it's like traveling as a woman there. Can you give any advice on traveling independently and how to go about that?
Yeah. You can easily just rent a car and go around by yourself if you wish to. If you don't want to book via any tourism companies. Traveling as a woman, there's always an issue of women in our areas, but make sure that Oman is safe. We are driving ourselves to our works, to the offices, so it's really safe, and there is no issue of women traveling alone. No issue at all.
Yeah, I've got to say, having been there, yeah, it's I felt completely welcome, completely safe. You know, terrific. The people were so friendly.
The Omani people are really friendly and hospitable and welcoming everybody.
Yeah. Right, Oz, we had a question about local guides and how to find them. And I know there's going to be lots of people, I'm sure, would want to go with Wild Frontiers, who are brilliant. But if people did want to find local guides, and did you say that you have to be licensed?
Yes, it's a rule from the ministry. Sorry to interfere.
Go on.
Yeah. It's a rule from the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism. Every tour guide, they should be licensed. And for adventure specifically, Aus will explain more because he go through the process.
Yes, as I mentioned through my presentation, as an adventure tour guide, we go through a military course where we go under like all types of safety measures, how to deal with all types of situations, and so on. So, I mean, and to find those local guides, of course, under the ministry, they have the list of those local guides and the companies as well. As I think I forgot to mention that, but at the end of my slide, the last slide, there's a QR code at the top right corner. I mean, anyone who would like to visit Oman can scan the QR code. That's one of the local companies, local guide companies called Milestone. They are certified guides, so you can try them on. And I would definitely say that you'll have a great time in Oman.
Brilliant, thank you. And Johnny, somebody has asked, do you work with independent travel agents so that they can book the wildlife frontier trips for their clients?
Yes. Get in touch. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're very happy to work with agents. Yeah, brilliant.
Sure.
Happy
to do that.
Yeah, Mark. Somebody said, because I think it was you who said about the sea being rough off Salalah. That was you, wasn't it? Said that.
Yes, it can be. I mean, in the Kharif, it's. I mean, you have two types of Bedouin in Oman: the fishing Bedou and the people who inhabit the sands. And in the summer, the fishing Bedou would always travel into the interior to help with the date harvest because the monsoon makes the sea so rough in the summer months. But in the winter, it's absolutely fantastic. It's for diving, snorkeling, kayaking, sailing. It's very predictable for most of the year, but for 3 months in the summer, sort of June, July, August, it's a bit rough the further south you go.
Yeah, can I just jump in there, Lynn? One of the most amazing experiences is just to have this miles and miles of completely isolated beach all to yourself and this incredible sea to swim in. It's not something you can find many places, at least not as accessible in a way as it is in Oman. It's an absolute treat to camp there and just enjoy it.
Yeah, no over tourism, is there? No, you're absolutely right. Not. Wonderful. And Zara, how's the dress code for visiting non-Muslim women? And are non-Muslim women in a foreign tour group able to visit mosques?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So asking about the dress code as a visitor, and also can a non-Muslim woman who's in a foreign tour group visit a mosque?
Yeah, during the holy month of Ramadan and when visiting the mosque, you need to cover your head and wear long sleeves and of course covering your shoulders and your till the knees. When you are out of this, you can just dress modest dress will work. Yeah,
normal but modest. Yeah, Johnny, I think you Wild Frontiers always gives guidelines, doesn't it? Very sensible.
Yes, absolutely. As with any country, one should always be respectful of the local culture and wear clothes that are appropriate. I think we saw photographs in Zara's presentation of women not wearing a veil. Veils are not necessary for women to wear in the souks and things like that, but of course one should cover shoulders and legs and stuff. It's just about being respectful of local culture and traditions.
Yeah, very much so. Those were the main questions which we are going to do. So before we finish, I'm going to be very cruel and ask each of you wonderful speakers to recommend one place or experience. I want a quick fire answer. But anybody visiting Oman, what would you say they really must do or see? And because we're out of time, I only want something very, very quick. So while everybody's having a think, thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. And to say again, we will be doing that follow-up email. It will have the recording. It will have the questions and answers from tonight, including a couple that we didn't get to. And we'll put in there all sorts of useful links, and we'll obviously have details in there about the special offer as well from Wild Frontiers, which is brilliant news. Right, so who should we come to first? Johnny, go on then. One top recommendation for.
Oh, that's nice that I get to go first, isn't it? Camp in the empty quarter.
Go camping in the empty quarter. Okay, Oz, what do you think?
That's really difficult, but I would say visiting. Yeah, I would say visiting the wadis, Snake Canyon.
Wadi, Snake Canyon. Oh wow! Oh, incredible! Thank you so much. Right, and Zara, what would be yours?
I will say Musandam.
Musandam, right. Yeah, okay, fantastic. All different so far. Mark.
Well, Yeah, well, I'm going to go west of Salalah, between Salalah and the mountains of Yemen, on top of the cliffs that are about 600 meters high, frankincense forest, where I've camped in my Land Rover and seen lynx and hyenas and even an Arabian leopard without having to move from my camp chair. So it's paradise.
Oh, right. I want to be there. Well, I want to be all of those places. Oh, good heavens. Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for those recommendations. We'll include those in the newsletter as well. So just needs to say thank you so much to our wonderful speakers tonight. Johnny, Mark, Zara and Oz. You were all brilliant. Could have listened to you all for so much longer. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody for watching. And see you hopefully in Oman sometime. Good night.
Right.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Good night.